Shalom and welcome, everyone. Today we're going to go over who is for us and who is against us. Clearly, we can see in scriptures that some people, like Judas, some people that was supposed to be for the Messiah, for us, the part of the body, is actually just not a part of the body. Now, we want people to be a part of the body. We really want people to be with us, right? I mean, I think that's why we go to church. I hope that's why we go to these buildings. I really hope we're going for the right reason. Now, I know a lot of people are not. I know a lot of people are not going to these buildings to be a part of the body. A lot of them, sadly, are going to be what? A part of something, a part of a clique, a part of, hey, who's who, right? So when we find this out, that is the problem. When we find this out, that is what is our major thing. But many times we don't know that because we are looking at whomever is there. We're looking at who is a part of the program, right? If we're not careful, we have these people who say they are part of what we're doing. They say they are a part of what's going on. But in reality, what happens? They're not there. When we have these problems, we have problems that run into life things, right? When Joshua was by Jericho, he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, a man was standing before him with his drawn sword in his hand. And Joshua went to him and said to him, "Are you for us, or are you our adversaries?" This is what I'm telling you today. We don't know. We all claim we have swords. We all go and claim that we're saved. We all go and hopefully say that we're serving the Messiah. We're serving Yahweh, right? But are we really doing this? And he said, "No, but I am the commander of the army of Yahweh. Now I have come." Whether we like it or not, the people sitting in the pew, the people sitting next to us, the people all around us may not be and may not have our best intentions. We know this, right? We know good and well Sister Sarah that goes out and tells all of our bad things and all of our bad kids things and all these other things is not really on our side. She really calls to get our gossiping, right? She really calls to hear what's going on in her life so she can tell all the other people. Now, this is just truth. I know you don't hear a lot of this from preachers, teachers, so forth, so-called ones, usually unless there's a problem in the church, right? Unless it's gone on, or unless they're talking about whom? The pastor, right? It seems like you can talk about everybody else in the church, but when it comes to that, we have a problem. Well, folks, we should not have a problem, and we should know and we should discern. If Elohim is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:31. We know these verses. We love these verses, but do we know who is for us? Do we know who is against us? I would submit to you that Yeshua, people call him Jesus, but Yeshua knew Judas was Judas. He knew, he knew Cain and Abel. He knew Lucifer. He knew all these things, right? He's given us all free will. Even the angels. Think about that. People think angels are some kind of robotic, angelic things that just do whatever they're told to do. But obviously, even they have an ability to think and to say, "I'm just not a part of this no more. I'm just not doing this anymore." And when you think about it, isn't that beautiful, though? When you take a wife, you don't club her in the head and drag her down the road and say, "You're now my wife," and then throw her in a cage, and when you leave and you go to work and you come back, take her. You don't do that, right? Because that's not love. That's entrapment. That's many things, but it's not love. When you come home, you want your wife to be there. You want your wife to be glad you're there. You want your wife to be happy. And you want her to not be everywhere throughout the day, right? At every man's house and come home to you. So the same thing that we want I would submit to you the Creator wants. He wants us to love Him because He has given us the Torah. He's given us the instructions. It's just the opposite in most of the world. Most of the world don't want to take the instructions of the Father. They don't want to listen to the Father. They don't think they have to because Slick Rick's telling them the law's done away with. But you tell me what household that nobody has to do anything in. Tell me what household that Daddy says, take out the trash and do your homework and make sure you're up and go brush your teeth, and nothing happens, and you say, that law's done away with because I'm 12, I'm 5, I'm 18, I'm whatever, right? Do those laws change? Don't you still go and help? Even when you come over to visit, if you see the trash there, is it not instilled for you to go and say, hey, maybe I could take that out? Maybe I could help them out. Maybe that's a good thing I could do, right? No, the law's done away with. I moved out. I ain't got to brush my teeth no more. I ain't got to wash myself no more. All those things that I was taught from a young child, I just ain't going to do no more. That don't make sense, right? So how would it make sense to do away with the Torah? How would it do away to take the Old Testament and throw it away when most people preach out of it? You realize that? Most people come right out of Old Testament and preach and then turn around and say that's all done away with. Well, what's the point? Right? What's the point of this? Matthew 12:30. Whoever is not with me is against me, and whoever does not gather with me scatters. Folks, this is a very big verse, whether you know it or not. Matthew 12:30. Because there are many so-called pastors, preachers, teachers, all these things that they're scattering. They're not bringing together. There's many Hebrew roots people. There's many people that are just scattering. They say they're bringing together. They're talking about unity. They're talking about congregation. They're talking about all the good things. But what does the enemy do? The enemy says, but is he really going to kill you if you eat from that? Is pork really going to put you in hell? Is chicken nuggets really going to, is that really going to raise your blood pressure? Is this really going to? That's the way he works. And have you seen marriages and relationships and partners and corporations fall apart because I think he's taking some money out of the corporation. I think he's doing this. I think he's doing that. I think they're doing this, right? Look at Trump. I think he's doing this. I think he's doing that. We know the other side's doing all kinds of abominable things, but that's okay. We know that what's going on in the world, we can see it. We can even watch something that is just like a 5-year-old or worse from some man talking, and we laugh and giggle and think it's okay. Folks, this is not the way it should be. This is not the kingdom. Would we allow David to be this way? Would we allow Solomon? Would we allow our kings of old to be that way? Would we write things about them? See, the problem is America and this world needs to realize that we represent Yahweh or we don't. That's what it all comes down to, whether we like it or not. Either we represent Yahweh, the creator of the universe, or we don't. Either we're on his side or we're not. And I would submit to you many, 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 many millions, if not billions of people are not on the side of the Creator. And therefore, that's why their life are in shambles at whatever age. Oh, well, I'm old. That doesn't really matter. Does it say that in the scripture? Does it say when you get 60, you'll be sick till you're 90, or you'll be sick until you die? None of this is scriptural life-based things. Oh, we know when you get to 70, you just get hypertension. Oh, when you get to 80, well, when you get to this. And we're all looking for walkers and wheelchairs and horrific life when we get older. But should we? Because the Bible specifically says, I believe the man was 86 and he was ready for war. He wasn't on a wheelchair. He wasn't pushing a walker. He didn't have a oxygen, right? Now, things happen. Sin equals death. Sin equals problems. We know this, right? We're not going to sit there and say, we don't know this. This ain't what it is. We're not going to even be that naive. But We have to know who is for us. If we don't know who is for us, then how do we know who is against us? The problem is, when we don't take the Bible and live the Bible, we can very much be against the Creator himself, and his name is Yahweh. For the one who is not against us is for us. Mark 9:40. Now the thing is, people talk about names. All through the scripture it says, my name, my name, my name, my name. And people say Lord, or Baal, or God, or whatever. But he has a name, folks, and that name's Yahweh. And he really expects us to use his name. Not in vain, not the wrong way. He says that. But he says, this is my name, right? We can't just go around and say, well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to call him what I want to. If you've ever been in a household, if you've ever been in corporation, if you've ever had a job, if you've ever had much of any authority over you in one way or another, you don't do what you want to do. You might think so. You might think you own the company. You might think Ford is your place. But truthfully, your boss is telling you what to do. If you don't listen to his authority, you're probably going to get fired. If you're in a household and the head of the household, whomever might be grandpa, whomever that may be, even grandma, if you don't listen to her, there's going to be a problem, right? And eventually, you may have to leave. You may have to go to child services. You may have to go somewhere that we can't deal with you, right? A lot of old people, they end up going to nursing homes. Why? They just won't listen. They won't listen to sound reason. Yes, a lot of them go there because of different reasons, but I would submit to you, some of them go there because they won't take their pills they're supposed to. They won't take the things that they're supposed to do. They won't even try. They expect everybody to baby them, and therefore what happens? What does that get to do with it? Well, if I'm for you and I'm telling you this is your today's thing to make you feel better, and trust me, I'm not about pills and all that either, but we'll just say this is your herbal pill for today. This is your dandelion pill, and you need to take 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening, and this helps with your rheumatitis or whatever. Absolutely not. I'm not taking that. Absolutely not. I'm not going to be a part of that. Absolutely not. I'm not going to do this. Well, what do you want me to say? There comes a point when our hands are tied. Now, I say all that to say this. Yahweh says, don't eat pork. Did he ever say you could eat pork? No, he did not. Before you go and say and talk about, Yahweh never said. The Father never said. Yeshua, people call him Jesus, never ever said. He never had a ham sandwich. He never went and ate unclean things. He never had unclean fish. He never had anything unclean. So the scriptures say, and so the prophecies are for him. Do you realize if he would have came and changed, then he can't be? You understand that? If he come and changed the Torah, if he came and changed the law of the Father, then he's not in the stead of the Father, right? If my company is called Hose Apples Towing, and it's been that way for 50 years, and then I jump in and I change it to Hose Apples Mufflers, it's still got the same name, but it's changed. I have changed it. I have changed the towing company into the muffler company, right? Now, I have changed what the foundation was of that company. Now, yes, that is different than, but I'm trying to get the point of we cannot change the scripture. We can't take Yahweh and turn it into Jesus, right? We can't say, well, Yahweh said all this, yeah, but Jesus comes and says, yeah, don't do that. That don't matter. Then he would be against his Father. He would be against his Father, right? He would not be for the Father. Make sense? Perfectly. Revelation 3:15-16. I know your works. You are neither cold nor hot. Would that you were either cold or hot. So because you are lukewarm and neither cold or hot, I will spit you out of my mouth. Right here it's pretty clear. He wants you to either be for him or against him. There's a lot of Laodicea, or whatever you want to call them, on the fence Christians. There's a lot of on the fence people who think They're for the Creator. They think that Jesus is their best friend, right? He's my best friend. I put him in my pocket, carry him around all day. And that's the way they act. And that's abominable. It's truly an abomination to, and almost borderline blasphemy, is it not? That they're going to take the Son, the Messiah, and trample his blood into, he's my friend, I accept him. You accept him? Really? I didn't know he gave you an invitation to say, he said, I called you. I knew you in the womb. You want to talk about abortions and things of that matter? Yes, that's called killing. That's called breaking the commandment. That's why the world and even so-called churchianity wants to get rid of commandments and the Torah. So you don't know what death is. You don't know what killing is, right? They want you to believe that, oh, that's okay. To kill a baby, that's okay. To do this, that's okay. To kill an old person, that's okay. Where does it stop? I don't like your looks. You ain't got the right color hair. You ain't got the right color skin. You ain't got the right color. Well, that's okay. We've seen this, have we not? Have we not lived through these same times? Why do we continue to go back to them? Why do we continue to go back to a nonsensical, unbiblical way and act like it's okay? You know, all the LBGTs and all this and all that, it's unbiblical. It's not about love and hate. It's about truth. And if you truly love, you love. Whatever you say, there's no love like a man and a woman. There's no love that can be upon this earth that they can have a child. Anything else is artificial. Even having another child with something else, it's not the same. It's just not. If you look around and you see two people who had a baby and they are truly in love, they treat that baby like it's gold. They treat that baby, oh, that's all they do. Especially for the first few years. It's, oh my gosh, the baby sniffled. oh, the baby crying. Oh. They lose their mind over the baby doing this, that, and the other, right? Which they should. The same thing with a marriage. You cut yourself, you hurt yourself. Let me see, where's the Band-Aids? Let me help. What's wrong? How can I help you? But the Creator of all things, the one who gave us the Torah, the one who gave us the instructions, the one who said, this is right, this is wrong, somehow we want to make believe that we're on his side, but we deny every rule that he puts out. We want to deny, and because it's 2024, we can deny a man and a woman in marriage. We can deny what we want, or we can add to and take away. Is it not written, woe be it to everyone who adds to and take away? Read that verse. Read Revelations about that, folks, because we don't have and we can't be doing these things. If we go and do these things, we're just going to have some serious, serious problems. We're going to be in some serious issues, folks. We really are. And he called the 12 together and gave them power and authority over all demons and to cure diseases. Did you hear what that said? People are more worried about pamphlets, papers, church doctrine, calendars, everything but what they're supposed to be doing. The enemy has slipped in and said, well, this piece of paper means more than Sarah in the hospital. This piece of paper means more than this, and this, and this. And he called the 12 together. This is how we're supposed to do it. He did not change because there was 12 what? Tribes. He just shortened it down, right? He just brought it back to the original form. What was the original form? He didn't change. There was 12 brothers, right? There was Dan, Judah, Issachar, all those who created the 12 tribes of Israel. See, we come and say, well, them are the Jews. It's a Jew thing. There's more tribes than just Judah. There's more tribes than Judah, folks. There are other tribes, and you are part of one of those tribes. So all of Israel is what we're talking about, right? So let's break that down and turn it back into 12 people. And if you do your research, you might find that these 12 men was probably from the tribes of the 12 original. And Yeshua, we know, some people call him Jesus. His real name is Yeshua. Yahweh is my salvation. That man said what? The son of Yahweh said, he didn't change it. Think not. He said, don't even think about this. If I tell you don't think about this and you think about it, you've already done wrong. right? Don't think you're going to drive my car today. Well, I'm going to one way or another. That's rebellion. Because of what you've done and because your actions, don't think you're going to get to play that game tonight. Well, I'm going to play the game and I'm going to sneak it. That's rebellion, but that's what goes on in most churchianity today. I'm going to do the way I want to do it. And that's why their pastors teach and preach these lies and abominations, because they're too afraid to say the truth, because if they say the truth, they're going to go next door to the Baptist church, where the Baptist church will say and do what they say. I'm not trying to knock anybody. I'm just saying the truth is the truth, folks. And he called the 12 together and gave them power and authority over all demons and to cure diseases. And he sent them out to proclaim the kingdom of Elohim and to heal. Do we see this? We don't see this. We see worship. We see praise. We see songs. We see dance. We see smoke. We see mirrors. We see everything but what we see here in the scriptures. How have we been so far removed from what he said and what he sent, but yet we're modern day apostles, we're modern day believers, we're modern day, but when's the last time you prayed for anyone and they was healed? When's the last time your pastor prayed for anyone and they was healed? When's the last time that they come and these diseases were cured? The hospitals are full. The scriptures, it's pure gold out there, right? It's pure gold for the harvest. I didn't understand that for a while, but I understand there is pure harvesting in hospitals. There is pure harvesting at the cancer centers. There is pure wheat, if you will, out there, right? Some of them are, folks. They've got this stuff because of whatever. We're not even going to go into that. We can get that on the side or call or talk or text or Zoom about it. But the problem being, and I'll just throw in there, we ain't had a problem with cancer like this ever. Not until the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the longer it goes, the quicker and more rapid it becomes. Why? What do we eat? What do we drink? What are we doing? Processed foods, this food. We don't even care what we're eating. We don't care what we shove in our mouth. All we care is it fills our tummy. Right? Even water. Is our water even pure? We hear commercials about it, but yet we'll go drink ditch water that comes from our nasty pipes. Anyway, before we get going, let's go to this, right? So what we have to understand is what the truth is. The truth clearly tells us what we're supposed to do. It clearly tells us what he has sent them to do. Excuse me one moment, because my battery is about to die, and we don't want that to happen. I'm usually more professional and better at this and everything else. But again, come on. But again, life is life, right? So my dad's been in the hospital too. And wife's going to appointments. I mean, we have the issues of everything. I know, right? Heal yourself physician. Let's go on. Now Herod the Tetrarch heard about all that was happening, and he was perplexed, because it was said by some that John had been raised from the dead, by some that Elijah had appeared, and by others that one of the prophets of old had risen. All unscriptural things, but they're speaking unscriptural things, right? Herod said, John I beheaded, but who is this about whom I hear such things? And he sought to see him. So he wanted to talk with Yeshua. He wanted to see who he was. He wanted to see of all these things he's doing. Now it happened that he was praying alone, and his disciples were with him. And he asked them, who do the crowd say that I am? And they answered, John the Baptist. They're saying that this man is a reincarnation. What kind of believers? What kind of Torah keepers? What kind of Bible thumpers are saying? But I'm saying this because we may do the same thing. We may turn around and say reincarnation and all kinds of things that are unbiblical, abominable at best, and say things that they've said. Then he said to them, but who do you say I am? And Peter answered, the Mashiach of Yahweh. Wow. So his disciples knew, so his disciples are on his side because they knew. But yet the Peter that sat here and said this denied him, right? Come on, folks. So it shows that we are human. It shows what we are about. It shows what we are capable of. The fall itself, in all the glorious, we can only imagine. There's a song for you. We can only imagine of what Adam and Eve looked like, of what their powers, of all the things. I believe they was like lights, just like it says we shall be. They don't need light. They was light. We're always talking about this little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine. And do we have any of this light? Are we for the Creator Abba or not? And he strictly charged them and commanded them to tell this to no one, saying, the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders and the chief priests and scribes and be killed, and on the third day shall be raised. Take up your stake and follow Yeshua. That's what it says in between here, right? So to be truly on his side, to truly be a part of the kingdom, we have to do what he says to do. We have to live the way he says. And yes, you're going to be persecuted. There's people, even in your church, are probably going to want to get rid of you because of what you really do. And he said to all, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his stake. It's not a cross, folks. It was a stake. It's like a telephone pole. They knew how to do crucifixions excruciatingly painful. It wasn't nothing nice. It wasn't nothing pretty to see. It was terrible. And people cringed just watching the stuff. Some of the evil ones probably didn't, but most people cringed. That's why they did this, and they was proficient at it. There was no cross the way that we know it. It was a stake, a telephone pole. Look it up. The main way of dying was your hands was up here, and you suffocated. Think about it. If I put someone on a cross and they sit there all day long, big deal, right? If I stretch you out, this is the way they did it. They stretched them out till they couldn't breathe and pulled their legs and arms until their lungs would actually fill up. That's how bad it was. And that's why when they plunged him in the side, the blood and water came out. His lungs, they say, was probably full of water. That's the way this was done. That's why it was so horrific. Let him deny himself and take up his stake and follow me. For whosoever would save his life will lose it, but whosoever loses his life for my name's sake will save it. For what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses it or forfeits himself? For whoever is ashamed of me and my words, the scripture, folks, and my words, could that even be Torah? What are his words? Do not do this, straight from Moshe, straight from Yahweh, by the finger of Yahweh.